I do have a quick little graphic to show, and it's pretty much just showing kind of what the score lines have been for this Minnesota team. And I find this just crazy. I mean, the last guy, number one, to score a goal against the Minnesota Wild was Brock Besser back on the 2nd of this month. And, you know, you look at the score lines for them during this great run they've had. We've got 1-0, 3-0, 2-1, 2-1, 3-2, 2-1, 2-0, and 2-1 again. So I don't know who it was. It might not have been me. It might have been me. But whoever said you have to score 4 goals to win a hockey game these days is definitely wrong about the Minnesota Wild. It's incredible what they're doing. It's definitely worth talking about. And I think they're pretty much on an island of their own, Carm. Maybe them and their opponent tonight, the Winnipeg Jets, teams that are probably the most fun. So I ask you this question here: with the 5.5, with the price we're seeing, do you look towards the under again tonight?
Good one. I'll be honest with you, Andrew. I'm kind of playing contrarian in this one, and I know it's going to sound. I'm going to throw a bunch of different numbers at you, and each one almost sort of conflicts with the other one. Where we're going to see Fleury in goal tonight. I'm pretty certain, and you know, if you look at him over even the last 2-3 months, a lot of the games. Aspect of those, like the 5s and the 6s, as opposed to when Gustafsson is in goal and you're seeing these 2-1 score lines. And then you look at Winnipeg, and Winnipeg's in dire need of a win. Hellebuck is confirmed for tonight. He's 17-8-1, 2.36 goals against average, 924 save percentage just at home. And Andrew, he's 12-5 versus the Central. And this is why Winnipeg is where they are, because they're playing the teams that they need to, they're beating the teams they need to beat. 2.22 goals against average against Central Division teams. Now, the bad part of that, these numbers, is the last 4 games, he's allowed 4 or more goals. He hasn't been the Hellebuck that they need, and that's probably why you look at them and they've struggled of late, losing 4 of their last 5. If it was Gustafsson in net, I'd probably say this is just another Minnesota over. I think it's 16-1-2 after the last game. But they're on a back-to-back. Some of their back-to-backs have been a touch higher scoring than normal. And yet Fleury in, who's not the starter for this team anymore, the number 1. I think we're going to see some goals here. It's crazy to say, but I'm playing the contrarian view here and looking at the 5.5 and leaning over in this one.
Leaning over, going against it. Gotta love it here, Carm. Obviously, we do see the 5.5, and we don't see 5.5s in many games besides pretty much when they feature these two clubs. So, and that's true. The back-to-back, Minnesota has been a different team. So, but what a streak. But like you said, Winnipeg's been involved in some crazier games. For me, I just like Winnipeg, I'll be honest. I mean, that game for them against San Jose, I had a very small play on the over in that game. Winnipeg finished that one 0 for 6 on the power play. They had 38 shots. They created all kinds of scoring opportunities. They ran into a red hot, prime James Reimer, and sometimes you look at a team and you think, you know what, they just weren't scoring. They did not have the ability to find the back of the net. Their lines weren't performing. But sometimes you can also look at it and say, you know what, this team did everything tonight but score. Created chances, moved the puck up the ice well. And that's kind of what I saw from Winnipeg in their last game. So this is kind of a tale of two different teams right now. Minnesota, all you see is W's over their last 10 games. There's only 1 or 2 losses mixed in there. But I'm going to go with a Winnipeg team that I think will be motivated, and I think that will be ready for this game. And they play well at home. That's where this game is tonight, and I think they'll get it done. And I think we're getting a really good price on this, Carm, based on how we've seen Minnesota perform recently. So I'll take just the flat-out money line here with Winnipeg.
Yeah, and Andrew, and I like that because even if you look at the opening numbers on this, if you go to the WagerTalk live lines, you'll see this opened up at -125. Winnipeg has been bet up to a 145 now. It's gonna stay in and around this number. It's either gonna come down 5 or 10 cents, or it's gonna go up 5 cents. I can't see Winnipeg going any higher than minus 150 in this game, because then the value is all on taking Minnesota at plus 130ish or 25 if you can get it, depending on your book. But when Minnesota has that day off and they're rested, and they have Gustafsson in goal, and they've had a lot of those opportunities over the last 2-3 weeks, which has been great for underbetters, is they dictate the play. It's if you like Minnesota, you've got to like the under. This is one of those games where they don't have that day off. It's travel after playing yesterday, losing a game in OT. So a little later, I'm not even sure if they flew out right away or they make the day trip this morning. Who knows? But with that said, it's one of those ones where Winnipeg needs a win. Winnipeg might actually dictate the play in this one. And then Hellebuck hasn't been completely solid despite some of the numbers that I gave you. Allowing 4+ goals in your last 4 games isn't the type of goalie he is. So I think we could get some. I'm trying to justify my play of why I like the over, but I'm being a contrarian because I think this is there's enough here to tell me I don't want to be on the under. At the end of the night, this could be one of those 1-0 games, 2-1 games, and then I eat my shoe. But we'll see what happens.
That's the thing. Everybody on Twitter, everybody in the comment section, everybody live on YouTube right now is like, do we keep riding this out? Do we keep riding this out? And it's kind of how I feel sometimes with player props in the NHL. But sometimes certain situations pop up where you kind of just want to look the other way. And Carmen, when it comes to this game, a couple things to look at. I wanted to bring these up here. Kirill Kaprizov, he's hit at a pretty good rate here. 7 of his last 10 games over at his shot prop. He's a guy that pretty much quieted down with his shots on goal, but he's really picked it up recently over the last 10, 12 games. Someone that I think is definitely worth a look. Matthew Boldy, he started to get it going again. And watch out for the point props and stuff like that, power play stuff with Josh Morrissey. He did not get the nickname Josh Norrisy for just a coincidence. I mean, this guy is playing really well. He's in the Norris conversation, and he's someone that I think deserves some looks as far as the prop betting market.